Hey everyone, welcome back to our channel where we dive into all things real estate investing. Today, we're going to talk about a topic that often comes up among rental property investors and property managers, federally funded Section 8 program. There's some unique benefits and challenges that come with it, and we're here to break it all down for you. Now let's dive into the incentives and benefits of renting to Section 8 tenants. One significant advantage is the reliability of payments. The program is federally funded, so you can expect to receive your payments on time each month on the first of the month. Next, let's discuss the eviction process. Section 8 will not enforce your lease, so the eviction process is the same as with any other type of tenant. But here's the good news for Section 8 investors. Tenants are highly motivated to avoid evictions because their housing voucher is crucial to their financial stability. Simply put, they have a lot to lose. And if they fail to comply with their lease terms, losing their voucher will mean they must pay 100% of their rent out of pocket, which can be a major financial burden for anyone accustomed to receiving rental assistance. However, it's essential that we present this information carefully. We don't want to make it sound like evictions are easy. Instead, we can frame it as Section 8 tenants having a strong incentive to maintain their tenancy, which can be a positive aspect for landlords. When it comes to videos like these, transparency is key. Engaging content that sparks conversation is always beneficial, even if it involves discussing potentially controversial topics like the eviction process. Remember, the goal is to provide valuable information while also keeping you guys, the audience, engaged and informed. Let's move on to the tenant onboarding process. When you're onboarding a Section 8 tenant, the process generally involves the tenant viewing the apartment, liking it, and then submitting an application just like any other tenant. Let's get into the differences. In addition to your standard tenant screening process, you need to complete Section 8 paperwork and go through an inspection. Typically, the inspection comes after the paperwork has been processed. It's an easy to follow procedure, but it's crucial to get it right to ensure everything goes smoothly. You don't want any delays when dealing with tenant screening. When I first considered renting to the program tenants, I wasn't sure if I'd receive a security deposit. Rental property investors typically require a full month rent as a deposit. It's important to note that some programs and locations offer cash equivalents or vouchers instead of direct cash payments. This can be a pro or a con, depending on how you look at it. Now here's the interesting point. If you have a power of attorney, someone else can handle the paperwork on your behalf. This can be incredibly convenient if you're managing properties remotely. For instance, my wife handled most of my Section 8 process while I was overseas deployed. This flexibility can make a big difference in managing your investments efficiently. In conclusion, there are mixed opinions regarding renting to program recipients, especially in tenant-friendly New York, whether it's the reliability of the payments, incentives for the tenants to comply with lease terms, or the convenience of remote management. There are many positives to consider.
What can you tell us about the tenant pool for Section 8?
One thing people don't realize is that, you will have a much larger tenant pool with Section 8, but you can still screen them just the same as cash paying tenants. You'll still run your background checks, you'll still run your credit checks, and you can actually also interview them so you can get kind of a gut feeling to see if this will be a good fit for your property.
What is the benefit of having semi-annual inspections?
Yes, so the benefit of having a semi-annual inspection, let's for a second think to a traditional cash paying tenant. If you sign a 1-year lease or even a 2-year lease with that tenant, just think to yourself that you will not see that unit unless something happens. You won't see that unit for the duration of that entire lease, whether that's 1 or 2 years. And let me tell you, a lot can happen in that 1 to 2 year time period. With Section 8, they like to do periodic inspections or semi-annual inspections, and this gives you an opportunity to get eyes on, let's say halfway into a year lease or 6 months in, maybe a year and a half in. So again, you can kind of get a sense of what these tenants are like, the condition that they keep the property, they're damaging the property, and it gives you a leg up to say, 6 months into my 1-year lease, depending on what the property looks like, that could be enough to say I will either not extend with the end of the lease or I feel comfortable enough to continue with them.
How does Section 8 impact rent prices? And is it true that the rents are comparable to or sometimes higher than the average rents?
Actually, one of the biggest benefits is the rent that you would receive from Section 8. In today's market, and actually a lot of markets, not just New York City, the going market rent for a unit is much less on the cash side than it is on the Section 8 side. So for example, depending on location and condition of the property, for a typical 1-bedroom apartment, you can expect to pay possibly, the high teens, maybe $1,800, $1,900, possibly $2,000 a month. When on the Section 8 side, that same apartment will go for could go for $2,700 a month. And, even more so, let's say a 3-bedroom, 1-bath unit can typically go for, high twos, maybe 3,000, again, depending on location, when this same exact unit with a Section 8 voucher would go for, well over $3,000. And if you add in a second bathroom, even more. Thank you for watching. If you found this video helpful, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more real estate investing tips and insights. If you have any questions or topics you'd like us to cover, drop in the comments below. Until next time, happy investing.